What's up, nigga?
You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another episode of Flashbacks. Been a fat minute since I've done an episode of Flashbacks, so I decided it's time to do another one. Was originally debating doing this topic just as like a random thoughts, and just putting minimum effort into it, but fuck it, let's do it as a Flashbacks and keep the series going. Now, I've probably talked about some of this subject, at least a little bit, in other videos, particularly my criticism of a lot of videos like this, because a lot of them will title it childhood trauma and stuff like that, which I've always taken issue with. I've never really cared for that sort of titling scheme. Like, I know it's just, fun titles and whatnot, but at the same time, it makes people come off as fucking pussies, so that's not what I'm gonna call it. And on top of that, there's not a whole lot of media that actually scared me as a kid, and it's predominantly media that these videos are always talking about, right? But nevertheless, there were some that got me, and none of them were really like kid shows or anything like that. Like, you hear a lot of these people say, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog, or stuff like that scared them, which I always am like, what, really? Or, like, God forbid those people who got scared by fucking Teletubbies or fucking Pingu. But when I was a kid, the things that scared me were Jurassic Park, specifically The Lost World, because that's the one I watched the most as a kid, even though out of the first three movies, it's actually my least favorite. One being the best, and then three being, I think, incredibly underrated. But I remember, as a little kid of about maybe 7, the scene where the dinosaur shows up outside the window of the house and, like, eats the dog and is drinking out of the pool and the kid sees it. That part kind of scared me as a kid, to the point where at one point, there was one night that I had watched it and slept in my parents' room. Like I said, I was probably like 6 or 7. And I remember my parents had this big-ass bed with this little thing underneath it, like a little door, like a storage compartment or something, underneath the bed. But there was like a tunnel that you could like crawl through. It was really weird. I'm not sure what exactly you'd call that, but I used to play in that tunnel a lot. Completely unrelated to the video, but I just thought of it because of that time. That was one thing that did scare me as a kid, was that one scene in The Lost World where the T-Rex is outside the kid's house and eats the dog and scares the hell out of the kid. So that was one thing that kind of freaked me out as a little kid. Another thing that scared me a little bit when I was younger was when I first saw Halloween 6, which was the first Halloween movie I've ever seen. And I saw that at a fairly young age, too. I don't remember exactly how old. It was definitely after that scene from The Lost World scared me. And there was only really that one time that it scared me. But one thing that scared me was the first time I watched Halloween 6 when I was a kid. I was scared of that because I kept thinking of things like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees and shit like that. Just popping out of the closet, which, again, completely irrational. Again, I was still a little kid. It was after the Jurassic Park thing, but it still was like something really stupid to be scared of, especially with Halloween 6 being as poorly written as it is. I like Halloween 6. It is a stupid-ass movie, though. But like I said, very rarely did movies scare me too much as a kid. Like, I would get, like, scared when I first listened to creepypastas. That used to kind of keep me up, and that was fun. But movies often didn't. However, there was another thing that did scare the hell out of us, because me and my brothers used to make, like, a pillow fort out of our bunk bed, and we'd all sleep in that. And when we made the pillow fort, one time when one of the Saw movies was coming out, I don't remember specifically which one, but one of the Saw movies had an ad that would pop up on the screen between different commercials, and it was tripping us out because we thought there was like something wrong with the TV. Because, like, randomly, we were watching some shit on TV. I don't even remember what we were watching. But all of a sudden, the Billy puppet, the jigsaw puppet that he uses, pops up and goes, "Hello." And then it just goes right back to regular commercials. And then a little bit later, he pops up again and says, "I want to play a game." And then again, back to regular commercials. And it did this a couple of times throughout, so it was pretty fucking scary. And obviously, there were movies that I found scary, that I watched as a kid. Other than that, just these are the ones that elicited specific experiences. One that I actually had as an adult that I found to be a particularly scary movie at the time I saw it as an adult. It's not like it had the same effect on me as it would have as a kid, but when I first saw that movie Dark Skies, which was that fucking freaky-ass alien movie, I remember the first time I saw that, I thought it was pretty freaky. This would have been when I was, 19? I don't know how it holds up now. I haven't seen it in years. But I thought it was pretty freaky for an alien movie. Again, not the same kind of fear, but I thought it was, oh, that's a good, scary movie, right? But as a kid, I was scared of Signs, at least parts of it, but not the same kind of scared, right? It's the good kind of scared, the one where you're having fun watching it. Which is a little bit different. Mostly the topic of this video is about things that were like the bad kind of scared, where you're actually scared, although there is a fun to that too. But, yeah, just thought I'd mention, you know, there were other movies than the ones I've mentioned on here that did scare me even later in life to a point, although right in this day and age, mainly it's just like atmosphere. I don't really get scared from movies like I used to, which is a shame because there was a certain fun to that you don't get anymore. I'll also come in here and include some games that scared me the first time I played them. There was Doom 3, which was actually my introduction to Doom. Used to find that terrifying as a kid. Fear, the first one. Love that game. It's scary as hell. I fucking love Fear 1. And we used to mess with each other a lot. Like, specifically, Danny used to fuck with us all the time and try to scare us, and always ended up scaring himself as a kid, too. So, when that ad happened, we were in our little pillow fort that we built, and we were just kind of getting freaked out, and I was, like, seeing things in the dark, and I kept thinking of that Saw ad, and getting scared by that. It was a really distinct memory of one thing. And there was another thing I remember. There was a time we played Bloody Mary. Now, I did it wrong. We didn't use a mirror. We just flickered the lights on and off and just said her name over and over again. And that obviously scared us, and we were like fucking freaking out, and me and my brothers were all terrified of that. Not a movie or anything, you know, it's the whole little tradition thing, like when you're a kid you do Bloody Mary. And it did scare us, so that was one thing, another time that scared us. But like I said, not a whole lot of movies scared me. These were the ones that I could think of, as well as some stuff that weren't movies, like that commercial thing, and the Bloody Mary thing. There's been plenty of other times that we scared each other as kids by telling scary stories and making shit up, or pretending we saw shit, stuff like that. A favorite of Danny was he used to take the remote and, like, turn the TV on and off. And you always knew it was him, but he always denied it and was, like, really fucking persistent in denying it at the point that it was really annoying. Which reminds me, there was another time where it was, like, after midnight, and I was laying in bed, and Danny came up to my room and, like, tried to open the door to see if I was awake. And he didn't realize it was that as late as it fucking was. But I was being really paranoid that night, so I had the bed pushed up against the door. And I had a little baseball bat. Like, it wasn't a full-size baseball bat. It was made of wood, but it was a small, like, mini baseball bat. And I was laying in bed, and I had it, and I was, like, had the bed pushed up against the door, and I was holding the baseball bat, because I was, like, really paranoid, because I kept hearing all sorts of creaks and shit in the house that night. Doorknob starts turning. I start freaking out and pounding on the door with the baseball bat and shouting, "Go away, go away, go away!" And then Danny's like, "Angelo, it's me." And I'm like, "Oh, shit." And my dad comes out and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And he's like, "I just wanted to see if he was awake." And, yeah, it was a whole thing. Again, we did a lot of stupid stuff as kids. That was one of the times he wasn't actually trying to scare me, but I was on edge and being paranoid that night. There were plenty of nights where I was paranoid as a kid. But again, it was rarely linked to media. So, that's the things I can think of that scared me. I'm sure there's plenty more out there, but like I said, I watched horror movies fairly young. I saw the 1990s version of It when I was like 3, and it didn't bother me. I saw Silence of the Lambs when I was like 10 or 11. So it's not like horror has always like terrified me, but there have been random moments where it has. So I guess that this is my type of that video. Like I said, I'm not going to use the word childhood trauma because I think that's a fucking gay way to describe it, but that's my video on the subject. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles.
Hey, man, let's go home.
What are you doing? Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.